Hey everybody, and welcome to the third edition of the Saving Progress podcast. This will be the Thursday, June the 14th, 2012 edition. I am your host, Northernlion, as always, with my esteemed co-host, Michael A.L. Fox.
Hey everyone, I'm very esteemed today. I'm feeling good.
Well, you just blew my next question, because I was going to ask how you felt. Or how you doing?
I'm feeling great. In particular, lately I'm feeling wonderful. I don't know if people can notice, but I finally got a pop filter for my microphone, so you guys can stop bothering me about that.
Yeah, I noticed you had particularly powerful plosives before.
I did, and it's a good microphone that I have, but yeah, it picks up on all those plosives, and I mean, it's not fun. So I ordered this thing like almost a month ago at this point. I don't know. I think it came from Europe or some shit like that. So
Figures.
anyways, yeah, damn European Union. God. Anyways, so that's good. So I'm feeling good about that. And
yeah, well, now that you have some protection, you can pretty much stick your peas wherever you want.
Yeah, I just sometimes in the butt, sometimes.
So just the butt then.
Let's can we start over? I just don't feel good about this intro.
Well, before we get into our standard nonsense, I heard you had some administrative stuff.
I do. First of all, just to update everybody, people in the comments have been saying for the past couple episodes, the first two episodes, about getting the podcast on iTunes and stuff like that, and well, I'm happy to say yes, it is now on iTunes, and the reason it wasn't before is because iTunes has a review process, so it's not something we were ignoring. It's just it takes a little while, and you got to get all your metadata set up and your RSS feeds, all that stuff Apple likes. So you'll be seeing in the description a link to our fancy podcast channel on iTunes, so that's cool. As well, I've been pecking away at our website. In case some of you don't know, Saving Progress does have a website. It is savingprogress.com. So you can go there. Still, it's growing and things are happening, but at least on the front page you kind of get a glimpse at where other places we are on the web, and I have a little widget for the podcast. So you can listen to the podcast there, and you can download it directly there. Again, you
sign our guest book.
Sign our guest book,
Click all the banner ads.
Dude, we should get banners, man. We should. Some very obnoxious, seizure-inducing ones, too.
I was just going to say, I'm glad we're on the same page here. I was thinking ones that, like, spoke to you when you opened the page. So they'd be like, hello.
I want the pop-ups, too, so you can't, like, close a tab. You actually have to find the new window. Like, hello, I'm a smiley over here. Those are my most hated ones.
Can you do pop-ups and pop-unders? I want to do, here's what I'm thinking, tell me if I'm crazy, is first the pop-up comes, but bam, so it's right in your face.
Yep.
And the person's thinking, oh no, a pop-up. So they just like discount that pop-up immediately. They hit the X, but in the meantime, a pop-under has come under the pop-up, in between the website and the pop-up, so it's like a pop-under sandwich.
Yes.
So they close the pop-up, and then they see the pop-under, and they're like, wait a minute, these advertisers are persistent, maybe I should see what message they're trying to get out.
It could be. Maybe they're thinking like, wow, this must be a really important cause if they're pestering us this much. I think people will understand that. I think they might even respect that.
And both of them should talk.
Yes. I don't know what about, but anyway, so that's kind of that. And just so you guys know, other places we are in the World Wide Web, Twitter, you can we started that up. That's at Saving Progress. Pretty simple. And we've got a Facebook page too, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, all that good social media stuff.
Yeah, well, what I think I'd like to get running in the future episodes, a few people have brought this up, is maybe a Q&A. We'll see.
Absolutely.
And if we do that, I'd like to run that through Twitter. So go follow us on Twitter, and you can kind of get better updates of that nature. And if we're doing a Q&A, it'll be through that, so you can ask us sweet questions, and we'll probably have a look at them for the following episodes that we do. So that's something fun to do. Anyways, I think that's the gist of the administrative stuff on my end. I don't know if you have anything to add to it, or
this is also a great time to address a common question, which is or a common suggestion, I should say, which is you guys should do face cams and have face cams in the video like Total Biscuit does. That's not going to be happening anytime soon. We're not ruling out the idea of putting some kind of video in the podcast, but for right now, it just like doesn't make sense because, well, for a number of reasons. One of them is that we live pretty far apart, so we would have to Dropbox like 10 gigabyte video files of just our faces talking and like staring ahead at the computer monitor, which I don't think would provide any value. And also, that would change the upload time on my end for uploading those to YouTube from like what is probably like 10 to 15 minutes right now for just the static image to like 6 hours maybe.
Yeah, and another thing as well, that aside, just the transferring of all that raw data, it wouldn't be the same because, I mean, look, if people could see what I'm doing right now, I'm sitting at my desk, I've got this huge microphone and amazingly big pop filter in front of me, plus I got this separate headset on, so we're talking via Skype, and, I'm not dressed to impress. It's just I don't think seeing me in this light would really add. If anything, it would take away from the experience. People are like, oh, we're listening to that Joe Blow right now.
You know what my shirt says right now?
Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?
I'm clearly a Stone Cold fan.
I know, that's why I said
my shirt right now. It has a corresponding picture, so try to imagine it in your head.
Okay.
It says, I voted for Ryan Malcolm.
Ryan Malcolm, Canadian Idol, for those. And a funny story, my sister, the same age, when they were in high school, they dated. So
your sister is a dude?
I guess.
Because I'm pretty sure...
He's gay now?
I don't know if we should slander him.
Is he gay now?
Didn't he kill himself?
No, I hope not.
Anyway, Ryan
His family
Malcolm
runs
is the first Canadian Idol, and he comes from our hometown.
Amherstfield. Well, it's not my hometown, but
Yeah, well, it's close enough.
Close enough, yeah. But they have their family has a restaurant there in that one plaza by the subway.
It's not there anymore. It's been replaced with a Chinese buffet.
God damn it!
Yeah, because he killed himself.
No, come on.
I hope he didn't actually kill himself. That's gonna make me seem really cold-hearted.
I don't understand why. I mean, well, maybe the fame got to him.
Yeah, that like 30 minutes where he was the most popular person in Canada.
All 35 million of us.
Well, I got the shirt, man. I think it's homemade too, but I'm pretty sure when I was in like 11th grade, my mom told me about this shirt that she found at Value Village. She's like, I almost bought it for you as a joke. And I was like, you go back, get it.
So you just wear it now to be ironic or something?
Yeah, I mean, I wore it then to be ironic, but it's almost more ironic now. The irony is aged like a fine port.
That's that's good. I mean, you gotta support your Canadian entertainment. We don't have enough spotlight. New Rush album came out the other day. That's what I'm excited for. Yeah, Clockwork Angels.
Yeah, it's my favorite Stanley Kubrick album.
Do not ever make fun of Stanley Kubrick.
I didn't call him a morbidly obese piece of trash. I said I like the movie.
You just did now. You basically might as well call him a neckbeard.
Well, you're acting like I said that he was a power hungry fascist or something.
I hate you so much right now.
Fox, what have you been playing in the world of video games this week?
Okay, I have been playing the biggest. Should I go with the biggest game or start with the smallest games?
I think you should start with the biggest game.
Okay.
The smallest game can just slide right in afterwards, not even touch the walls.
Oh yeah, just like barely there.
Just blow out both sides. Of the podcast.
Getting kind of sexual in here. A little hot and heavy.
Just if you want to lose your erection, just start thinking of Stanley Kubrick.
Actually, that would work. But then I'll start thinking of Eyes Wide Shut, which is like childhood softcore porn. So I don't know.
Childhood softcore porn?
No, I mean not the movie. I mean like it came out in '99, so that's like.
This is the new
13
millennium.
Years ago. That's anyways, like my childhood, not that. Shut up. Don't make me talk about these things.
I'm not trying to get you put on a list. I think you're doing a good enough job with that yourself.
Screw you. Okay, anyways, biggest game that I've been playing, many, or not many, but some of you may know that I just recently purchased a PlayStation 3. I've been debating it actually for like the past 2 years, and I was ready to get one a year ago, and then I kept on him and Han and the whole PlayStation Network thingy where they were basically giving people all the credit card information and stuff like that. That kind of put me off a little bit, so I held off. But I decided, hey, why not? I bought it, and the first game I bought, it might be like a what the hell moment for people, is actually Max Payne 3, because you're like, well, that's not a PlayStation exclusive. Why did you buy a PlayStation 3 and get that? But I also bought some other games, some Uncharted and stuff like that. So I'll play those, but I really want to play Max Payne, and I've been playing it. I beat the game. I think it's pretty good. It's a great continuation of the series. Gritty. It's just pretty cinematic. Good action for the most part. It controls well. Few little bugs and snags and stuff like that, but otherwise, I've been having fun with it, and I'm going through it again on harder difficulties and stuff. So, hey, it's thumbs up.
Is that one disc on PS3?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if we talked about it last week, but it's at least 2 on 360.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me because 360 would be on DVD, whereas PS3 it's Blu-ray. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a great looking game. It's pretty big actually, and for those of you that don't follow Max Payne, basically he's a dude, he's a cop, and in the first game, the whole point is his wife and child get killed, and he's just like, well, fuck the world, and he starts messing up people's day because he's really mad and everybody hates him. So kind of like this is the years later, and he's kind of still sort of dealing with that, and he's a depressed drunk, and other problems arise. So again, good continuation, and the narrative structure I really like. If you've ever watched Pulp Fiction, it's kind of how it jumps around. There's different chapters or segments of the story, and it kind of goes back and forth through time. It's very similar to that in Max Payne 3, which at times, the first playthrough, you might be a little confused. You're kind of wondering what the heck is going on. But I think it's a game that's good enough. You want to go and play through it again, and things start to make sense, and you put together the story. So, again, thumbs up. I'm enjoying it quite a bit, and I'll be playing it for a little while to come. Bullet time,
awesome.
baby. Yeah.
I mean, Max Payne 3 was one of those games where when I originally saw it on the release schedule, I was like, not really. Even though, I respect Rockstar's work and they've got a great recent track record. It's been 10 years since the last Max Payne game, and I was never an enormous fan of the franchise.
Yeah.
But the more time that goes on with basically nothing that tickles my fancy coming out, the more I start thinking, maybe I'll make a trip to my local game emporium and pick up a copy of Max Payne 3.
Honestly, yeah. If you got some spare $20 bills laying around, maybe pull those out or venture down to your local Blockbuster if that still exists. I don't know, or
no,
whatever.
Man, our Blockbusters are all gone here.
God damn it! Didn't
Jumbo Video too.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
I love Jumbo.
There's
Remember
one left in the whole city.
We went to Jumbo Video that one New Year's Eve or New Year's night. It was
It was 2006 maybe.
something like that. That was a good time.
Yeah, that was great.
And then we ate Wendy's. Oh man.
That was the last New Year's before I think I discovered the beauty of alcohol.
That's man, your life changed pretty crazy in the last few. I mean, from you in high school to you in university, it's like, whoa, man, this guy.
I've discovered what real love now.
Yeah, cigars and babes and alcohol, all this.
Video games.
Video games are
stuff.
pretty good stuff. So, yeah, you should consider getting it though. It's
I'd probably get the PC version though. Instead of I wouldn't actually go down to my local game emporium. I just get it on Steam.
Yeah, do that if you have the horsepower, because I have noticed there have been a few little frame rate kind of snags on the PS3. At least I don't know how it fares on the Xbox 360.
I'm gonna guess probably about the same.
And as well, I've had some weird issues where there's a decent amount of cutscenes in it and things of that nature. And there was this one cutscene probably halfway through the game, so we were getting pretty heavy into all that, and just for 4 minutes straight of this cutscene, there was no sound, and you can't. skip it, because sometimes when you try and skip it, it'll say still loading in the bottom right corner, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
good way for them to preload the game, and so I'm like, well, fuck, I'm missing some key elements of the game here, but I don't know if that's something that's going to get fixed in a patch or something. There's just, but overall, it's, and then the next playthrough, it didn't screw up, so I don't know.
That's
Still,
good.
still get it on your PC if you can. Yeah, it's good.
All right,
Uh,
so Max Payne 3 officially a Fox entrusted hot joint, certified.
I give it the Foxman seal of approval.
Mm-hmm. Sealed with a kiss.
Seal and blood.
What else have you been playing besides Max Payne 3?
Max Payne 3. Okay. A slightly controversial game. People have been giving me some heat for it. I did a Let's Look At of Bang Bang Racing.
The most controversial game this year.
Pretty much, except for maybe what is it? Your Orion Dino Beatdown.
Oh yeah. Or Revelations 2012. Anyway,
Bang Bang Racing. So you can get it on PlayStation Network, Xbox 360 in the marketplace there, or on Steam.
is that Mac as well?
No.
So
no,
you played the PC version.
I played the PC version.
Okay.
So I downloaded it on Steam, and I check out. Anytime I get a new game, I always go through, check out the settings, change the resolutions and quality, and this and that. Started playing it, and even with the frame rate counter and all that stuff, I'm getting 30 frames per second. So that's why I'm kind of thinking, oh shit, this game is slow. And the problem was, it wasn't any noticeable lag. A lot of time when you have frame rate issues in a game, it won't be just constant. It'll kind of jump around a bit, and there might be little juts and things of that nature, right? This is actually pretty smooth, so I just thought they made a game that has the slowest pace of all time.
Because it was like really slow, almost to the point where you would consider calling it like a turn-based racer or something.
Yeah. Well, you'd be able to see things a mile ahead. There wasn't really any challenge to it, because in the game, the basic how the game actually works is, it's a top-down racing game. Different kinds of modes, like straight up races. You want to come first place. There's time trials. There's elimination. And on the actual racetrack, there's a couple of hazards. They have oil spills, or they have barrels of oil.
It looked a lot like, I'm not sure if you ever played like the Micro Machines games that came out on like Game Gear and Super Nintendo.
Don't recall. No.
Just trying to give people like some idea of what a top-down racer might look like if they've never played one before.
Yeah, it's well, there's that one back on NES. What was that one called? Or was it NES? Yeah, it was NES. I can't even remember the name. Either way, I'm sure it's more exhilarating at whatever frame rate it's supposed to play at, or whatever pace it is. It's weird because I'm getting 30 frames minimum a second, and yet the pace, it looks like it's a quarter of what it should be compared to what some other people have been getting. So I don't know if mine is buggy, what the heck is going on. But even that aside, the game is just not that great.
All right, so that's your experience with Bang Bang Racing is like crippling performance issues that basically render the game unplayable.
Certainly yours must be better than mine.
Yeah, I also, independently, we didn't talk to each other about this, but nope. I bought Bang Bang Racing on Steam, I guess on Saturday. This will go up on Thursday. Yeah, I bought it on Saturday. I was like, this will probably be something, because I've been playing all these like real-time strategy games that take like 6 hours to get over the learning curve hump of, so I can actually make a video of them. I was like, Bang Bang Racing, I bet I can get into that, play 45 minutes, and have a good idea of what it's like so I can record a video. Well, I boot it up, and it just freezes every single time at the first image, which is like the ESRB, this game is rated E for everyone. Every single time I try to boot it up. And I emailed support from the developer, and this is a developer that I've actually dealt with before on like a press level.
Yep.
Like I previously, they published like an arcade flying game last year. There was like a flying version of Mario Kart called Skydrift, which is actually, it was pretty decent. But yeah, emailed their support team. Now we're going on like 4 days ago, and have not gotten an email back. So I'm inclined to basically just give I don't even remember the developer's name, so it loses a little bit of its punch here, but I'm inclined to give, double birds to the developers there, and basically throw out a PSA that you should absolutely not buy this. I mean, considering the performance issues I have that make the game literally unplayable, and the performance issues you have that make it, changed, damaged, basically beyond its intended purpose, so that it's not even fun anymore. And the other complaints that I've heard people post online, it seems like the vast majority of people aren't even able to play this game as it's intended. So I'm going to go ahead and say don't buy that. And if you've bought it and it doesn't work for you, spam Steam support to get your money back, because it's basically unforgivable that a game like this could come out on a distribution platform like that and just not work for so many people, or at least not work as intended.
It's and it's selling for, well, the normal price that they charge for it was $10, but they dropped it down. I think it's either $8.99 or $8.49 currently on Steam. Yeah,
something around.
And it's $10 on the 360 and PlayStation. So I don't know if it's any better on 360. I almost wanted to go and get it there just to see, but at the same time, I just don't want to give any more money to this developer, and like, I don't know.
I'm inclined to think that it probably works on PSN and 360. Like, I can't speak for Sony, but I'm positive that Microsoft would not have let that on its service without rigorous testing.
Their quality control is pretty decent, I'd say, for the most part. At least, games might be shitty, but at least you can play them.
Yeah. And I mean, like, for people who might not know, I'm not running this on like a 386 or something. Like, this is a beefy PC that is capable of recording modern games on like ultra settings with no frame rate loss. So it's not like this isometric 2.5D racing game is going to be taxing my PC so much that I can't even load the developer splash screen after the ESRB rating.
Yeah, and when you see the game has a certain aesthetic that isn't, I'm not going to say it's great. It's not ugly. It's kind of pleasant in some sort of weird way, but definitely not intensely resource hogging or anything like that. You see the crowd is like these little balls, essentially, just little balls of people, like way worse than the Microsoft avatars or anything like that. I mean,
like Mii's or something,
or Mii's or whatever. Yeah, even worse than that. And they're just, so I don't know. It's just be warned. If you want to spend your money, then chance it. But even if you can get it to work, you might not like the game. That's the other thing. So
my guess is that probably our rage is a little bit impotent here, because with a title like Bang Bang Racing and a premise like the game has, I doubt there were a lot of people that were really looking forward to it anyway.
Not likely.
But yeah, I suffice to say, I completely agree with you. Like, absolutely do not buy this, or if you do buy it, probably buy it on a console if at all possible. Mm-hmm. Because at least you can almost guarantee that your game is going to work in that situation.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
So after Bang Bang Racing, I also decided to continue my racer game streak a little bit more. I went and downloaded Joyride Turbo on the Xbox Live Arcade, which came out a couple 2-3 weeks ago at this point, but I kind of missed it somehow, and I didn't really realize it until I downloaded it, but it's basically, and I mean, this has happened a lot before on other, apparently it's prevalent on the PlayStation as well, but it's a Mario Kart clone.
Yeah.
Just with a couple things added, but it's very obvious that it's that same style of gameplay, which I don't know, I enjoyed that when it was Mario Kart and stuff like that, but I just automatically don't enjoy it a lot less when I see somebody else try and pull the same thing. It's like, no, you can't get in on this ride too.
That's exactly how I felt when I played Jimmy Johnson's Anything with an Engine.
How does that play? Like, is that?
It's Mario Kart.
Okay.
with Jimmy Johnson in it. NASCAR superstar.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have no idea who that is, but then again, I don't follow NASCAR because isn't that like the most watched sport or most that's televised? I thought NASCAR was actually surprisingly, aside from maybe something like football or whatever, but either way, NASCAR is pretty popular
in the United States, at least.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. That maybe not so much in Canada, but I do know some people in Canada that are pretty gung ho for the NASCAR and all those explosions.
Joyride, was it called Joyride Turbo?
Yeah.
That game kind of sort of weirds me out because it's like it's a port almost, or a sequel of Connect Joyride, which was like a Connect launch title. So we got this weird situation where I don't know if the game sold incredibly well and like some executive of Microsoft is like, quick, we got to get like controller support in here for all these people who don't have Kinects, like chomping at the bit to play Joyride. But you know that game exists now and apparently is not great, but also not offensively bad by what you're telling me.
It's hard to say because it does do a pretty decent job of doing what Mario Kart did, just bringing it to a modern console. And you've got local multiplayer, and you do have Xbox Live, which is kind of the one thing I can say, well, all right, that's cool because you can't play Mario Kart with your friends that are on the other side of the ocean or wherever they may be.
Yeah.
So that's nifty, but at the same time, they added some elements that I'm just thinking they added them just so it didn't seem like a completely blatant ripoff.
Yeah, like to avoid a lawsuit or something.
Yeah, they have a mode called, it's like the stunt arena or stunt area, and basically you just go in there and they have these elaborate 3D maps and tracks with loop-de-doops, and you ride around collecting coins and collecting crates. And these crates they have parts to cars. So for each, they have a bunch of different cars in the game, different types of classes. You can get trucks and muscle cars or sports cars. And each car, you start with one car in each of the three classes. And to unlock the others, you have to first go and in the races and in the stunt area, you have to collect these parts. And then once you do that, you have to buy the car that you've unlocked all the parts for with the coins that you've collected throughout the races in the stunts area. So it actually takes a decent amount of time to do this. And that was kind of, for me, I didn't like that so much because Mario Kart was always one of those games where you just like, all right, brought over my N64, put in Mario Kart, and you're good to go. It's like, just like no holds bar, have fun kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But this, you kind of got to work towards it. So, and I don't know. I know people like progression and actually having to play the game and earn things, because I certainly do, but I'm not sure it's quite as fitting in this game. And my biggest thing I hate so much in this game is they have these stunts. So when you're doing races and you do a jump, you control both thumbsticks or joysticks, and one will rotate one direction, one the other direction. You cannot crash. It auto lands. So it'll say after you land, it'll be like, nice stunt, dude. After you do like a quadruple axle, double tuck, whatever you call them.
You never do the double tuck.
Yeah, never double dip. But yeah, you can. So it's not actually a stunt. It's not a stunt because there's nothing stunty about it or whatever. You can take your hands off the controller, and you'll land perfectly fine. I'm not quite sure why they did
what
that.
does doing stunts do? Does it build up your turbo, or
you have this little gas bar, and it'll build that up, and as well you can do drifting in the game when you're going around corners, and that'll help boost this meter. But as far as I could tell, you don't push any button and you get a little boost. It just, I think, makes your car go faster. I honestly couldn't figure it out. So again, I think it's just one of those more or less superficial things to try and differentiate themselves a bit and be like, yeah, we took this kind of classic that we were influenced by and made it even better. Because other than the inclusion of Xbox Live, I wouldn't say it's any better. I would say it's worse in some regards because of how it controls.
So Joyride Turbo, maybe a waste of money, probably a waste of time.
Yeah, I had a few people who saw my Let's Look At, and they're like, oh, I'm actually going to buy this. And hey, power to you.
Cool,
if you've got friends and you can sit there in the same room and play it, or you all have it and you're going to play on Xbox Live, go for it, because it could be good fun gameplay. But if you're going to play it by yourself, just don't. I wouldn't bother with it, and you just might not want to get it based on principle because, it's a clone.
Yeah, fair enough.
Nobody likes clones, not even clone sheep.
Yeah, suck on that. Multiplicity starring Michael Keaton.
I love that movie so much.
You just said nobody likes clones, man.
I want pizza.
You're flip-flopping here.
That's my favorite. No, I like Michael Keaton, though, so... And they're not clones. They're all, like, different personalities. That's the thing.
He uses a cloning machine.
Yeah, he does, but they're not really clones other than their physical appearance.
Man, if it looks like a clone, talks like a clone...
Quacks like a duck. Clone. Anyway, so that's that, and the
Multiplicity starring Michael Keaton gets a thumbs up from you and a thumbs down from me.
You want to do a sequel?
Yeah.
Like we'll make it. It'll be.
Do you have $50? Because I have $50. So with that, we can pay Michael Keaton.
No, well, okay, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be called multiversiplicity.
Yeah.
So we're gonna play with the whole multiverse scientific
Michael
theme.
Keaton puts the universe inside of the cloning machine.
God damn it, we're gonna break the universe again.
And then he puts that cloning machine inside of another cloning machine.
And he puts that one inside of a different universe inside of a cloning machine.
Right.
I don't even know. Can somebody map this out on paper? I'm getting lost.
I'm gonna write it. I'll get the dudes from Primer to do some script supervising.
I still want to see Primer. I haven't watched Primer yet, and I've been told
it's a good movie.
Yeah, I've been told
it's confusing. You don't watch it if you're not gonna pay attention.
Yeah, but you forget. I've been reading like hardcore quantum mechanics books since high school.
Sorry, Stephen Hawking.
I respect that guy. Okay, I'm looking at like 3 of his books right now on my desk. So
I don't respect anybody that I can beat in a foot race.
You can't beat me, so
yeah,
I'm the fastest kid alive.
That's true. He is.
I am, and I get faster when I'm drunk, or at least the illusion. I feel like I'm faster when I'm
I
drunk.
think time just gets faster when you're drunk.
Possible. Time flies when you're having fun.
That's true.
All right. Last game I've been playing, and I just put up a video of that yesterday or today. Sorry, this very morning. No, yesterday. What day is it today? 14th?
June 13th.
June 13th. So yeah, June 13th. Today is Ichi. It's this kind of cool Ichi. My butt crack is so itchy. Oh yeah, dig right in there.
It's okay, guys. We'll just edit that out later.
No, we're not gonna leave that in. I got the crabs in my butt.
Ichi.
Anyway.
Tell me more about Ichi.
Yeah, Ichi is a puzzle game, and it's available on a few different platforms. You can get it for both PC and Mac, though you can't get it on Steam. You have to either get it through the developer is Stolen Couch Games. I don't know, these developers coming up with pretty crazy names these days. But you can get it right on their website, or I think they have what's the other option?
Like a Desera?
Desera. Yeah, it is Desera. You can get it there. Get it in Mac App Store for your Mac, or you can also get a version for your iPhone or any iOS device, I should say. You know, if you got and Android as well. So your smartphones, your tablets, your laptops, your desktops, you can get it on all those, and it'll range in price from there's like a free version with ads, or you can spend $1 for the mobile version, or it's $3 for the PC version and $4 for the Mac version.
All right, well, so here's a game out you for all people who have either a phone or a computer of any kind.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I said in the video. It's like you can't actually find a way to download this game, then you're out of date, Grandma.
How are you watching this?
That's true. That's a good point. But it's a puzzle game, and it's kind of clever. The point of it is to you've got this little golden ball and then these golden rings, at least one ring, and you have to get the ball to the golden ring. And there's these different elements that you can kind of toggle and manipulate.
Is it like, do you control the ball, or is it like an Angry Bird situation where
the
you're
ball,
doing like swipes?
The ball goes on its own path.
Okay.
And you only tap this. You tap anywhere on the screen. Like you don't really interact with specific objects. And then when you tap the screen, it kind of will turn some of the objects, or it'll toggle them on or off, and different. It's sort of hard to explain. I mean, if you really want to get a good idea, I mean, not to plug myself, but go check out my Let's Look At, because that'll give you a better idea of what it's like. But it's one of those games that gets you thinking, and it is I should say there's like an element to it where you can complete the level and take forever. You take like 20 turns or 20 taps or whatever, but you'll get a bad grade. They kind of give you a grade. So if you can complete the level while getting the ball in all of the rings in the 3 turns, you'll get a grade A, or if it takes you 5 turns, you'll get a grade B. So obviously me, I kind of want to do as best as I can. So I try and get all grade A's, because, you know, got to bring a good report card home to Mama and Papa. But
you got to get all grade S, man.
Yeah, grade S, super. No, excellent. E's, all E's. Excellent. But for a few bucks, it's actually a pretty decent game if you're into puzzlers and you're the kind of person that likes Sudoku and things like that you can take on the train. And I use them as a means to wake up in the morning, personally.
That's
but
nice,
maybe you want to use them to, I don't know if it'll help you wind down at night, but check that out. It's I think one of the games we had I have put something positive to say about other than Max Payne 3. So check that out. But that's it for me. What have you been rocking this past week?
Well, as we talked about on the podcast last week, there was basically nothing new
Nope.
that came out this week, at least that we knew about going into it. There's been a little bit of stuff that's come out on Steam that just came out of nowhere, basically. So what have I been playing this week? Not a whole lot. I guess the biggest one is I've been playing Krater with a K.
I was looking into that a few days ago. It looked sort of interesting. I don't know, but I was not sure if I want to get it yet. So please, can you had the beta, didn't you?
Right, yeah. I got access to Krater probably like 2 to 3 weeks early. But there was always this review embargo date of yesterday. So
Okay.
I wasn't able to post a video of my impressions until yesterday. In fact, the video will not go up until the same day that this podcast goes up. But it has been recorded with my thoughts on it. So if you want to hear more about Krater, more extensive thoughts, you can check that out after you're done listening to this little spiel here. My beta impressions of Krater were not very good at all. I mean, when I first got the game, it only worked for about 5 minutes, and then whenever I would go restart the game and talk to somebody, it would always freeze reliably or just crash to the main menu. And I emailed the developer about it, and they were like, yeah, there's a known issue with your video card. Hopefully ATI comes out with new drivers before the release of the game. And I was like, I don't think that's how
It's not very
this is
comforting.
supposed to work. Yeah, but maybe a week ago, a new update for Krater came out, and it's now works on ATI 7000 series cards. So I'm like, cool, now I can actually play this game. I guess we'll talk about what the fuck it actually is. It's isometric action RPG, very similar to a Diablo or a Torchlight,
Okay.
which is a comparison that I bring up constantly in the video that I make, because it really is indeed quite similar to those. But instead of controlling one character, you control 3, and each character has 2 abilities. So you have a class that is a DPS class that has an AoE attack as one of his abilities, and then I don't know, maybe some kind of explosive attack as his other one. And then you have a medic character that can do a burst heal or a sustained heal, and then you have a stunning character who can stun or slow enemies. Anyway, so the combat is basically the same as your standard Diablo. You're just right clicking on enemies and then using your abilities whenever they come off cooldown. Similar kind of style in that every enemy that you come across drops loot, and you're fairly frequently going to be coming across new. You don't have to worry about armor or anything like that. You're going to be coming across new weapons though fairly frequently.
Okay.
The one thing I will say is that the game is substantially more difficult on normal mode than Diablo was.
Which is big issue.
We'll not open that whole can of worms, but it felt nice for me to, let's just say, have the loot feel consequential, because it could actually make or break my success in the next fight. And I didn't even mention this in the video, which is shitty, but it has a weird kind of death system where, okay, if you lose all your HP, you're knocked down. Because you have 3 people in your party. So if one of your party members loses all their HP, they're knocked down. And this fills up their injury meter. And if their injury meter gets full, then they sustain an injury. Let's say, okay, I have my medic character. He gets knocked down 3 times before I can get him to a hospital. And then it'll be permanent injury, broken leg. So for the rest of my time with that character, he's going to have a broken leg, which doesn't actually affect his performance. But if he gets 3 or 4 injuries, then that character dies forever, and there's no way to regenerate them or bring them back.
That's bullshit.
It's kind of cool.
What kind of hospitals you got over there in Craterville?
Well, the way they work around it is that you can hire recruits to join your party. So it's not the story is dependent on those 3 characters that you start with. You can swap people in and out for basically without any effect on the story whatsoever, which is also shitty because it means the story isn't really tied to your characters that much. Your characters are just kind of working their way through this world. But to get back to why I didn't really like it, in the beta, shit was just broken. Even up until the day before release, the beta version only had 30% of the final game. There was still work in progress text everywhere. There's a crafting system in the game, and when I tried to craft, it just had those triangular brackets, and then it had a string of code contained within them. So I would just jam on the button and not even know if it was doing anything.
That's unfortunate.
If you played the game in windowed mode, you couldn't really move the camera around effectively. In a Torchlight or a Diablo, you move the mouse pointer to the edge of the screen to kind of move the camera. If you alt-tabbed or played the game in windowed mode, that didn't work really. It didn't work at all, basically. Like when you came back to the window and made it your active window, like I couldn't get my camera to move down at all, but if I nudged it even like a slightest bit to the right, it would just go to the right edge of the map. And the work in progress text, as far as I know, has been fixed. Now it says craft, but the alt tabbing and the windowed problem still seems to persist. So if you're gonna get this, make sure maybe it's just an issue with my video card again, because that.
That's what you get for going with ATI, man. I know they're formerly a Canadian company. Didn't they get bought out by?
Or it's actually not ATI. It's AMD.
AMD, yeah, they bought ATI though, so they have all their technology. But come on, man, get with the program. Get with NVIDIA. Yeah. GeForce, baby. Just sounds good. But yeah, continue.
There was one other. Okay, so it still has that like alt tabbing problem. I don't know if that's a personal problem for me, but it's one of those things that in the beta version there used to be this big splash screen that popped up when you started and was like, here's a list of the bugs that we know about. And now when you sign in, it's just like, we released an update today. Enjoy Krater. So I'm pretty sure that that bugs still exists. It's just been hidden from, like, they don't want to display that as soon as you load up the game.
Right.
The other thing is that there was no online multiplayer in the beta version, and there is no online multiplayer in the retail version, but it's supposedly coming soon.
That seems like something you actually really want in a playable beta, just because
seems like something you would want in that game in general.
You want to just to help you iron out the kinks before you release the full thing. I mean, we don't want another Diablo 3 going on here with intense server issues and things of that nature. So I don't know. I think maybe they were just a little hasty to get things pushed out the door for this beta, personally.
Basically, you have just repeated the exact concern that I mentioned ad nauseum in the video, is that this happens a lot. Like, over the past like 18 months, I've played like 200 indie games that have come out with varying degrees of kind of like grandeur from the developer. And oftentimes you hear like, we don't have online multiplayer in the game yet, but we know that's something we're definitely planning on releasing in the future. And a lot of times it just doesn't happen. And I mean, you can understand why. Like you said, like you can't just like flip a switch and have online multiplayer be turned on. Like, you have to actually develop the netcode and make sure it's playable. And it helps to have like a smaller user base than a retail launch to test that with. So it's one of those things. Maybe online multiplayer will come, maybe it won't. But with the game as it is right now, which is basically the only way that I can review it or give my impressions of it, without online multiplayer, that's how I'm treating it. Like, the online multiplayer will never be added. And with that, I don't know. It's one of those things where the game seems decent enough. I had a decent time with it. Story's all right. Gameplay's a little bit more micro-y than Diablo 3, which I actually like. But I feel like, if you didn't like Diablo 3, you're not going to like Krater that much. And if you're looking to play, only one action RPG this year, it should probably be Diablo 3. And if it's not Diablo 3, it should probably be Torchlight 2. And if you're going to play 2, you should play those two. If you're going to play 3, maybe you can slot Krater into that number 3 spot. But the fact that it doesn't have online multiplayer just boggles my mind. Like, I don't know if they were beholden to like this June 12th Steam release date, so they just decided, fuck it, just like cut the multiplayer off, we'll add it in later. But I think they really would have benefited from like delaying launch for a couple of months, as long as it took to get that online multiplayer mode in. Because as is, it's like a single player loot fest, which kind of, I don't know, do people really play that much anymore? Especially when the story is not that spectacular.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, but in that kind of game in particular, when you're competing against a giant like Diablo 3 or apparently Torchlight 2, you want to take your time and get that shit right. I wouldn't want to just push out another game in that genre. If it's not good, it's not gonna get any traction. So why even bother? You're just wasting your time. Spend the extra. I'm not up on all the developer timelines and schedules and stuff and how long it takes to do stuff, but maybe spend that extra month before you tell anybody about it. They're not going to be missing it. They're busy playing Diablo 3 and all the other games anyway, so make it a good game while it's somewhat workable, then release your beta or your alpha or whatever the heck it is, and actually be able to do something when you get feedback. It's like, that just seems silly to me. Impatient culture with games is on the rise, I think. So
yeah, I agree with you. Krater overall, absolutely competent, decent game. I'm maybe a little bit pessimistic about its future. Like, I don't know if that online multiplayer mode is ever going to see the light of day. I assume it will, but we can't know right now. But it's all right. It's $15, so it's cheaper than both Torchlight 2 and Diablo 3, and it shows. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, that's good. I mean, it sounds like you want it to be good, but hey, let's not get our hopes up. That's not a fun thing.
Yeah, exactly. So apart from Krater, I haven't played too much. I played about one frame of Bang Bang Racing.
Well, you pretty much experience as much fun as I think I have, if not more, because you don't have to put up with all the bullshit.
I played a little bit more of Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion. That actually came out yesterday.
Yes, I saw.
I'm still not through the tutorial. About 2 hours invested in that game so far. Still not through the tutorial, but both like professional critics who know what they're talking about and fans of the series seem to say that this is a quality game. So I'm hopefully going to be able to invest a little bit more time in that this week. Maybe get a video up soon after that, as soon as I can anyway. Like I said, there's a huge learning curve. Obviously, like, not only is this a real-time strategy game that I'm not familiar with, but it's like the 4th or 5th one in the series. So I think they keep making it a little bit more complex each time. To appeal to diehards of the franchise, and I have a ways to go before I get to any point of competency. But anyway, that's $40. Press seems to be smitten so far to a certain extent, and yeah, users seem to enjoy it as well, so that's cool. Adventures of Shuggy just came out on Steam today. It was previously an Xbox Live Arcade release, so I played about an hour of this so far. It just came out today. Adventures of Shuggy is like, it's a puzzle game where every single puzzle is contained within one screen, and it's a platformer as well. So you can kind of think of it. I'm trying to think of a good example of what this is like. You remember N Plus or N?
I do. Yep.
So it's like you're platforming and you're trying to collect all the gems or coins to finish the level.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like that. There's hazards. There's like spikes and there's enemies and stuff like that. But it's much more puzzly than actiony. Like, there's a much less of a focus on the platform than the puzzles.
Okay.
And what's kind of cool about it is that you only have like the ability to move and jump, and then you have an action button. And basically, I'm not going to say every single room, but most rooms that I've come across so far, there's like 100 different puzzle rooms in the game. Every single room has like a different thing that the action button does. So sometimes what the action button will do is like fast forward time. Or sometimes what the action button will do is like rotate the level 90 degrees for whichever way you're facing. And they can do cool stuff like that, like in the rotation one. In order to complete a level, you have to collect all the gems on the level. So what they do sometimes for like a rotation one is you'll have like one gem. You'll be trapped in a box with just like a small opening, and then there'll be one gem like in a corner somewhere, and you'll have to rotate the level to kind of get the gem through this maze in order to get to the hole that you're in, because you can't escape that. And there's other stuff too, like you'll have multiple Shuggies on a level, so like only using the action button will switch between them, and they each are like gravity affects them on a different direction, if that makes any sense. Like some of them can walk on the walls or ceiling.
Okay, yeah.
Others walk on the floor. So it's kind of cool. There's a lot of like, I wouldn't necessarily say inventive ideas, but there's certainly a lot of variety in the puzzles. I don't really like it so far.
No.
In spite of what might seem like gushing, I think the puzzles are cool. The platforming feels really bad. It is like floaty, and the controls sometimes feel non-responsive. Which, you could maybe make a claim. I'm playing it on the PC with an Xbox 360 controller, so maybe like it's not the intended interface, but this was originally on Xbox Live Arcade. Also,
there you go.
It's $10, and it looks like an iPhone port or an Xbox Live indie game. And graphics aren't everything to me, but when you're competing with stuff like in that $10 range, like $10 on Steam or Xbox Live Arcade in 2012 is not what $10 was in 2005, where it would get you like Uno.
No, not even close.
So that's Adventures of Shuggy. There'll be a video up of that eventually. I'm gonna play a little bit more of it, see if it opens up a little bit. It seems cool. Like, it's definitely inspired by Super Meat Boy. There's a certain kind of braid element to it. There's a little bit of time travel.
I was gonna say that's when you started talking about the time and rotating different elements of that nature. Yeah. Seemed kind of like braid. So that's seems sort of interesting, but hopefully it gets better with time.
$10 seems. I mean, it's crazy for me to be like bitching over $5 here, but I think this game would get a lot more attention if it was in like the $3 to $5 range as opposed to the $10 range. I don't think the production value is there, and I don't think it's interesting enough at $10. But $5, and I also think it would make a great iPhone port considering the simplicity of the controls, and I very rarely say things like that. But anyway, that's Adventures of Shuggy. That's available now. Apart from that, I've just been playing a lot of Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
You getting any better, or are you still sucking balls?
Still pretty bad, but I'm starting to figure out which weapons are good and which weapons are bad, mostly by asking people. And I used to go 1-6 in my games, and now I usually have a kill death ratio closer to 1. Maybe we were looking at overall 0.8 or something. So I'm getting there. Soon that game will be entering open beta, which is where I'm hoping that I can really buff up my stats against some people that maybe are not familiar with Counter-Strike that much.
I was actually I was browsing Reddit. I don't know if you've ever heard of Reddit. I don't think anybody.
No, what is that? Is that READ?
No, it's it's REDTLP, I think.
Yeah, I read it. Yeah, the L and P are silent.
Yeah, very. Anyways, so I was reading this thing on Reddit. Some guy took a picture of his little brother, put in $2,000 into making some new PC, and he's playing Counter-Strike on it, and he's got this widescreen monitor and all that stuff. I don't think you can buy a computer monitor that's 4x3 anymore. Anyways, yeah. And on it he's got Counter-Strike, but it's in 800 by 600 resolution or whatever like that. And everybody's like, what the hell? A freaking idiot buys an awesome computer and he's running Counter-Strike, a game from 1999 or something.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Anyways, and I'm reading the comments and stuff, and apparently people are talking about the pros would always play in this aspect ratio because for whatever reason the recoil on the guns would change depending on what the resolution is. So you knew somebody was hardcore into the game if they were playing on this little tiny windowed box on their computer. I just thought that was kind of cool. So maybe you can look into some hacks that.
I'll just start running it 640 by 480 with all the settings turned down.
Might work.
And people are really, really serious about their Counter-Strike. It's one of those games. How should I say? The recoil matters a lot.
Yeah.
And when you can't run and shoot somebody very effectively. Basically, whenever you're clicking to shoot, you want to be standing still so that you have as little spray as possible, so that you can be more accurate. And you want to crouch if they're not going to hit you, but you also want to keep moving because they're going to be shooting at you, obviously, at the exact same time. I don't know. Competitive players of Counter-Strike seem to not like Global Offensive that much, but it's for things the movement feels floaty, or one thing I've heard is that you get too much money for killing people with certain amounts of guns. But for a player at my level, that doesn't matter at all. I think Global Offensive is going to be a nice gateway drug for people that are new to Counter-Strike like myself. And I'm not sure if we mentioned this last week, but Valve did during E3. I'm not related to E3, but they announced that it will be coming out August 21st or 18th. I can't remember. And it'll be $15 across all platforms. So PC, Mac, PSN, and Xbox Live Arcade.
All right, well, I'll be ready to pick your bum at that point. I'm going to kick his bum, everyone.
I warn you, there is a little bit of a learning curve. But, it's not like Dota where if you play against somebody who's way better than you, you're going to lose every time. At least at my skill level. You could just take a shotgun, and even if I'm not saying this is true, but let's say I'm 10 times better than you, you can get lucky now and then with a shotgun and just blow me away.
It's true, but I've got fox-like reflexes, I should say.
That's true.
I'm nimble, I'm quick, I'm sly.
Michael J. Fox-like reflexes.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm trying to...
Your podcast has been removed from iTunes.
Fortunately, I think they only review the first episode, which we were pretty kosher with, so...
True. Oh, now you're getting Judaism.
Yeah, I actually had somebody the other day say to me, "You're not a Jew?" And I was like, "What?" I don't think I've ever done anything that would make you think I was of the Jewish faith.
You really like Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I do. I very much enjoy. I do enjoy some of that Jewish culture. The delis and stuff like that. That's awesome. Like, I don't know, but and there's a good shows. There's some classic shows, man. Classic.
You a fan of Rashida Jones?
Yes.
How about Maggie Gyllenhaal?
She's all right. I don't know. I think her face kind of bothers me. It's too similar to her brothers.
Yeah, so's her dick.
Oh.
Sorry, Maggie.
Sorry, Maggie.
Little known fact, Maggie Gyllenhaal, big fan of the show.
Well, I apologize to you, Maggie, but
she sent in some nude photos last week.
She did. Her nipples are crooked.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway.
One of them has a mustache.
Yeah, well, it's more like a couple whiskers. I wouldn't really call it a full-out mustache. At least it's like a teen stash, if anything.
Well, she I don't know where to go with this.
Yeah, we're actually trying to have a logical conversation based on things that are just absolutely insane and unrelated. Anyways, what were we actually talking about before?
Well, we were talking about what we played this week.
That's a recurring theme. No, nipples.
That is all I have played this week. A lot of Counter-Strike Global Offensive. That is the best game that I played this week. Okay. Krater's okay. Adventures of Shuggy is all right. Probably a little bit too expensive and will frustrate you if you're used to platformers that control really well, a la like a Super Meat Boy or a Braid. Did I talk about a virus named Tom last week? I think I did.
You didn't, but that was another game I kind of spotted, and I watched some of your video, and I had the same conclusion just looking at the screenshots on Steam, like Pipe Dream.
Yeah, it's exactly like Pipe Dream from the Amiga, NES, or like Windows 3.1 or 95. And it's all right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's $5 if you pre-order it before it's released from the developer's website. If you pre-order from the website, you also get a Steam code. It's available on Desura, I think, and Good Old Games, GOG.com. It's fine. $10 when it comes out is probably a little bit too pricey for my taste, but $5, it's a nice diversion. It's okay.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, doesn't it have a kind of a story element?
It does, but like most puzzle games, and this is also exactly the same, not problem, but I guess same kind of issue I have with Adventures of Shuggy, is that the way it works is it's like cutscene, puzzle, cutscene. Like the story is not integrated really into the gameplay. Kind of like it is for other genres, and I mean, I don't know how you make that work in a puzzle game. Like Plants vs. Zombies is another puzzle game that's great, but it has exactly the same feature or exactly the same setup as that structure, shall we say. But yeah, the cutscenes are funny. There's not that many of them, but I dig the kind of like faux Jetsons aesthetic, like what people in the 50s thought the year 2012 would look like.
I think people in the 50s would be impressed with what we look like now.
Yeah, man, especially the prevalence of free online pornography
and quad-core computers and Taco Bell and double downs.
When I was a kid, if you had a quad core, it was in your garbage can and meant that your family had a round of apples. You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, good.
It's done though.
Right, so that's what I played this week. I guess now in typical Saving Progress podcast fashion. Well, we don't have E3 this week, so we move on to industry news, which may or may not be sparse.
Doesn't seem like as much stuff is going on outside of the things that happened in E3.
Yeah, post E3 hangover.
I mean, there's a couple updates. I was reading a little bit more about the Wii U. People are still speculating about the specifications for that and what all it's going to entail. And apparently people are like, we're sick of your, the Wii didn't really have good online.
Right.
I mean,
none of Nintendo's online.
it had bad online, I'll say. And people are like, well, why don't they just do something kind of like Xbox Live or PlayStation Network? Xbox Live is great, I think. In general, it works pretty well, and it's simple. It's great. I'm pretty much copy that to some extent. Like they copied Mario Kart with Joyride Turbo.
Yeah.
But I was reading, and apparently Nintendo's like, well, if you think you're gonna have good online, with the next Nintendo, the Wii U, you're gonna have a bad time because I guess they're not trying to compete with 360 and PlayStation 3, even on a hardware front, but on the online front, like I don't get what the hell is going through their head at this point.
Just a refusal to embrace kind of the future, but also I mean I can understand where they're coming from. It's not calling online gaming the future anymore doesn't even make any sense. Like back when, okay, the GameCube, I don't even remember the online for the GameCube. I think it had 0 online. People were saying, okay, like for Nintendo's next console, which turned out to be the Wii, they have to have some kind of online to deal with Xbox Live and whatever Sony does, which at the time I don't even think PSN existed. There was just like the modem that you plugged into the back of your PS2. And then they came out with like friend codes, and those were garbage.
Yeah.
And now, but the Xbox Live and PSN are like such an integral part of the gaming experience on those consoles now that you'd think over the last 7 years, Nintendo would have been like, okay, we absolutely need to implement some kind of dedicated online service for our next console. But apparently not. You know, give them some credit. They're sticking to their guns. Like 10 years ago, they said online is not a priority, and you know, now we're here at the present day, and they have basically stuck to that.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how the actual console sells, and if I mean, I'm sure they're gonna have a few AAA flagship titles that they always do, but other than that, an ongoing issue has just been third-party support for Nintendo, and that's a big thing for me now because games like consoles like the 360 and PlayStation 3, they have a couple of good exclusive games and stuff like that, but they actually have, I mean, outside of what they actually produce, I mean, Sony obviously makes games and Microsoft makes games. They have some their best games are friggin' third-party things, whereas Nintendo, it's like, yeah, it's basically downhill from here. You're probably not going to find a better game than what we produce for our own console, which is kind of sad. So I don't know. I just like to see them really push that, if anything. I mean, that should be their number one priority, right above, just barely above online gaming. Though online, that's another thing. But if you don't have the third-party support, then well, who gives a shit about online ecosystem when there's nothing on it? So.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, we can talk about third-party support as much as you want, but I guarantee that if you are a fan of dancing, fitness, rhythm games, the Wii U is probably going to be one of the 3 best consoles for you next generation.
Yeah, one of the 3 best consoles. That's a true statement. You can't argue with that, pretty much.
Yeah, I'd also like to, there's been a little bit of background noise, I feel, recently. Like to apologize to everyone, just tell you to basically man up and deal with it. It's been a busy few days of moving on my part, but you know, the spice must flow. Videos are still coming. Stuff's still getting recorded. I'm persevering here, so just enjoy the sound of a Northernlion under construction.
Yeah, for once it's not an issue with me doing plosives out of my ass.
Yeah, that's the worst. I mean, those are the smelliest plosives.
Smelly, and they just spray like they go right across the room. God damn it!
I have a piece of relevant news that will probably be important to a lot of my audience, at least.
Okay.
That sounded like I was gonna lay down some bad news. Well, I guess it is bad news, but it's not related to my channel. Reading an interview with the guys at From Software. They did Dark Souls, which is of course coming to PC this August. Mentioned in the interview that they are not going to fix the frame rate issues that basically plagued the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versions of the game in Blighttown, which is an area that hopefully has some significance to people listening right now, and other various areas in the game. They're saying like they basically figured it was going to be just like a straight shot. You could just take the code from that game, basically just optimize it for the PC and make it work. But now they're having a lot of trouble with the port, apparently, because I guess this is a studio that's never done that before. All in all, the Dark Souls port roller coaster continues of like, hey, we want Dark Souls on PC. Sure, you can have it. Yay, it'll have PC exclusive content. Boo. Oh, we'll bring the content to consoles now. Yay. But the PC version is going to have games for Windows Live and like 30 frames per second capped internally. Boo. And now people are saying, well, I guess the upshot of that roller coaster before the most recent downshot was that it's going to be on Steamworks as well. Like you're going to be able to buy Dark Souls on Steam, which is cool. But yeah, now they're saying the frame rate issues that kind of plagued the game, which is probably the number one complaint beyond difficulty that people had with Dark Souls, was these like technical issues at certain points in the game. So I guess that's not going to be fixed. That sucks. Still looking forward to it. Keep in mind it has like online matchmaking and like the ability to get like invite your friends to a game and play with them, which is going to be way better than the clunky system that existed in the console versions of the game. As much as I love it, it's going to be nice to be able to play with friends on the PC. So I don't know, still excited, but you know, it's not going to be, I think, the glorious PC port that is going to like blow everyone away that people were probably expecting, and with good reason.
Well, ain't that a bummer?
Yeah, it sucks. Dark Souls is still awesome, and if you don't own a console, you should probably get the PC version, unless it turns out that the port is just totally busted.
All right, well, that's yeah, any other games you are dreaming of that have yet come to fruition that I don't know what I'm saying. Any games coming up in the future that you're excited for?
Global Offensive I'm into. Definitely.
Yeah.
If I'm not sure if like people in the closed beta are going to get access to that game for free. I'm going to guess not, probably. But yeah, I'm definitely going to pick that up when it comes out. Let me just look at the upcoming releases here. I'm kind of interested in WWE WrestleFest.
Dude, okay, you know, I've already put that on my list of games to look at, so maybe we can like do I don't know, there's probably gonna be some multiplayer or some shit with that.
I hope so, yeah.
I hope so. We'll maybe we can do something together with that, because I've actually wanted to look at it, and it's like, hey, is this like THQ's last hurrah or something like that? Because haven't they been having financial troubles?
Substantial financial troubles.
Substantial. Yeah. So we'll see, because I haven't played a wrestling game in quite a while. I mean, for me, it was the pinnacle was pretty much the N64. You know, WCW, NWO, Revenge, or WWF No Mercy. Those were great games. And then after that, it didn't seem to have the same magic to me for whatever reason, and I never got into it. So I don't know. I just saw this one. I was like, hey, maybe this rekindled the fire. Because I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid, but it just kept getting worse and worse with all these. It's basically just like a bunch of strippers in the wrestling ring. Is
well, all I know about WrestleFest is that the picture, it looks like a 16-bit Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yep.
And that's all I need. I'm in.
Yeah. Well, no. I hope they have the Ultimate Warrior. He's good
definitely.
Too.
I assume they will.
I'm gonna be him. You can be Macho Man, and we'll kick some ass.
Did you play WWE or WWF All Stars?
No.
That game was a lot of fun. I think it came out last year, maybe like a year and a half ago. You need to get the proper backstory of my experience with that game. Is that like me and 3 friends went to this? It was called like a PC bong in Korea, but it basically means it's like a net cafe. But this one wasn't PCs; it was all PS3s. So we get in there and you pay like $2 and you can play for 4 hours or something. And the dude shows us the catalog of games that they have, and we're like, okay, Korean. And eventually we found like WWE All Stars, and we popped it in. We're like, yeah, it's like the only game they have that has 4-player co-op outside of like Winning 11 or FIFA. And that is like a super arcadey, over-the-top racing game. Like you can take Macho Man Randy Savage on the top rope, and if you do your special or your finisher, he will jump like 100 feet in the air and do a backflip and then elbow drop on somebody's face.
So it's like the NBA Jam version of wrestling.
Perfect description of it. So I'm hoping that's what WrestleFest is like. I imagine that game probably sold like shit, which is unfortunate, but
yeah. Well, let's see. You know, maybe it's gonna be a return back to basics or something like that. Just former glory days of wrestling. I don't know, but it looks like they have some newer wrestlers as well.
Yeah, that's cool with me. Maybe. You know, I can get down with the John Cena's and the CM Punks as much as the next guy.
John Cena's great, wasn't he? In what's that movie he's in?
The
like
Marine.
Shooter with the Marine.
Yeah, the Marine. And 12 Rounds.
12 Rounds.
Both classic films. If you're into so bad it's good cinema.
Well, that's like one of my favorite cinemas, like The Room. Oh man, that's
well documented. Love for The Room. I'm excited for Torchlight 2 coming out at some point this summer. It's gonna be $20. I think based on what I saw in the beta, which was only Act 1, Torchlight 2 is gonna be pretty damn awesome. We should also probably play that together.
I will play that with you. you're forgetting one very big thing.
Uh-oh.
It's a human tradition for the past like 2,000 years or something.
What is it?
The Olympics.
Okay. Oh yes. London.
London 2012.
London 2012. We're probably gonna pick that up and do some track and field. What are we gonna do that on? What are we gonna play that on? Because on 360, I assume that is gonna have Kinect support out of its ass.
That is a good question. I mean, for those who don't know, I'm in the midst of I've like ordered a pretty beefy PC, and all the parts are kind of in the back order for the next week. So I'm not sure if I'll get it quite in time to be able to do. I mean, it'd be cutting the line because then I have to put the PC together all myself, and so the game London 2012 comes out June 26th. That's a Tuesday, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
the middle
probably.
of the week.
I assume
anyway,
that's going to be a game that is not going to be distributed digitally. Primarily, that's a game that's going to be on store shelves, so like confused mothers and grandparents can walk in and be like, "Oh, our son likes sports, doesn't he? He's really excited for the Olympics."
Yeah, it's a great game for that. It's kind of like a family-friendly thing. You don't even have to think twice about it. You just buy it for your fucking nephew that you hate or whatever, and
yeah, and he will hate you in turn, probably.
Probably, but yeah, it's official game of the Olympics. That's kind of cool. I guess it's made by Sega, but
yeah,
as it is, I am leaning towards the 360 only because of my situation. But ideally, I would like to get it for PC. So I guess we'll have to do some brainstorming. But
yeah, it's one of those things. You know how people say like if you have a beefy PC and a game is multi-platform, you should almost always get the PC version just so you get like the maximum like graphic capabilities from the game.
Yep.
I kind of feel like if you're buying a game like London 2012 with Kinect support, it's like you might as well buy it on the 360 and like get your money's worth.
Well, then maybe I'll go pick up Kinect in the 360 version.
I would not feel comfortable suggesting you buy Kinect for any reason.
Well, I see that's the thing. I don't want to buy it, but
right. Okay. Maybe the PC.
I'll buy it and I'll use it for this game and then I'll return it. You know, Walmart
Yeah.
doesn't give a shit.
But the things that Kinect will see will never be able to be on scene.
I'm gonna play it naked, just so you know.
Yeah, well, of course.
I'm gonna be swinging dicks everywhere.
I can't believe that there's no Xbox Live indie game that allows you to like it would track your genitalia and allow you to have like intercourse on the screen.
Meat Spin.
Yeah, Meat Spin the game from
That's
Silver
wonderful.
Dollar Games.
I hope not too many people listening know what that is. I'm sure there are, but I just for whatever reason, you know, it's just one of those things I kind of wish I'd never seen. How many spins did you guys get up to? Let me know in the comments. Don't actually, but no, I'm oddly looking forward to that because I think it's going to be one of those games. You know, the reason I brought it up is just because it's like so bad it's great. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be bad. It's just
no, it's going to be terrible.
One of those games I just wouldn't take seriously. I wouldn't go in and be like, yeah, I pre-ordered London 2012. Just, you know, lines are going to be huge. It's a really great game. I want to make sure I have it day one. You know, I'm going to go to the midnight release. Be the only person there. But,
yeah, I imagine that EB will probably be closed at midnight. Or Walmart, whatever.
Yeah, we don't have an EB in this town. I don't know.
People always think I'm crazy whenever I say EB anymore because apparently they've been rebranded like almost all over the country.
Yeah, GameStop bought them.
But there's still EB here.
But in Canada, there's still EBs. And you'll go into some malls, and on one end there'll be an EB, and on the other end there'll be a GameStop. And I'm just like, what the shit?
Yeah,
Make up your
damn
mind.
Shame.
It's it's kind of like
Best Buy Future Shop.
Best Buy, yeah, I was just gonna say Best Buy Future Shop, and I think the only difference between those two is one is, at least that's what I think is true, is one is commission, and which is Future Shop, and Best Buy is not commission. So
weird.
I don't know. Yeah, it is kind of weird, but they usually have the same stocks. So if you can't find a certain thing in one store, you just go to the other store and they'll.
Which is across the Ryokan Center.
Ryokan Center. I grew up loving and hating that place. Fucking awful parking lot. What is it with these big box stores that
terrible
they're just like, we're gonna invest all this money into like developing a cookie cutter sort of development. It's like you don't even have to think twice about it. It's like box 1 is Home Depot. Box 2 is Best Buy and et cetera, et cetera. And got Le'Veon Rose and Danier Leather and all that shit.
Good
But the
memory.
parking, it's like, and they put up all these trees and these huge bushes so you can't even see. And god damn it, that just pisses me off. Pisses me
Yeah,
off. Anyways, we're
that's the
going
video
off
game
the
sound.
rails on the crazy train.
Indie Game the movie came out on for digital distribution. I guess most notably on Steam, but also on like the iTunes store and maybe like Amazon Digital as well.
Is it on Xbox Live?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yep,
They're usually pretty good for getting movies and stuff on there these days.
it's
You
on
think?
Steam.
Well, yeah, it is on Steam. So should I get it? Tell me. You saw it in
Yeah. So
theaters,
you
didn't
haven't seen Indie Game the movie yet. I was lucky enough to see it. Maybe like a month and a half ago. It was part of this like documentary series that actually. I'm not going to get into the logistics of it, but it was in our town for one night only. So myself and a mutual friend of ours went and saw it. Really good. So if you're not familiar with Indie Game the movie, it basically profiles the development of 3 different notable indie games. It profiles the development of Braid, sort of, but Braid is like post-release by the time of the filming, and then it's Super Meat Boy. So it talks a lot with Edmund McMillan and Tommy, obviously the creators of that game. And that game is sort of like being finished and coming out around the time of the filming. And then it also deals a lot with Phil Fish, who was the designer of Fez, which is a game that is still very much in production at the time that the movie is being filmed. So it's kind of this cool, like, they really lucked out from an indie games perspective to be covering 3 of the, like, almost inarguably greatest indie games of the last, like, 5 years. And also to get them all at these like different points of development. So you have Jonathan Blow from Braid talking about how like, yeah, when Braid came out, like I basically became, these are my words, not his, so I'm bastardizing it a little bit, but like he became this like overnight sensation, and like how he reacted to like the criticism he got online. And then you have the guys from Team Meat being like, we don't know if our game is gonna do well or not. Like it might be garbage. Microsoft doesn't seem to be pushing it that much on the Xbox dashboard. And meanwhile, you're watching it and being like, you're going to sell like 1 million copies. Don't sweat it.
Yeah.
And then you have Phil Fish, and it's really cool to be watching it right now. And Phil Fish is like, I really hope my game's going to get finished at some point in the future and is actually going to come out because I've been working on it for like 5 years. And we're like, yeah, don't worry, man. But yeah, Indie Game the movie is really cool. Definitely recommend it. If you don't blink, there's a Northernlion cameo, sort of.
Oh, did you Kickstarter it?
No, there's a point. I don't want to spoil too much, but a point where just after Super Meat Boy comes out, Ed or Tommy, I don't know how, I can't remember how they filmed it. I think it's Ed, is looking through YouTube videos for Super Meat Boy, and I can see the thumbnail for the first episode of my Super Meat Boy Let's Play, along with, like uploaded by Northernlion. Literally there for like probably like 0.2 seconds.
Great. Well, you were like the first one to do a Let's Play of it, weren't you?
I was up there for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Probably the first one who didn't sound like an 8-year-old.
Screw you, man. 8-year-olds deserve to get their voice heard.
First, was it the child erotica, and now 8-year-olds have sexy voices? Is that what you just said?
What?
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just
saying, people are always like, oh, kids don't know shit. Because actually, I said that, I think, the last episode. Sometimes kids know shit. And,
yeah.
I actually got some guff, a little off topic, but at work today, I work with guys that are pretty much 2 and 3 times my age.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the young buck in the office.
20 to 30-year-olds.
What? Are you implying that? Fuck. Guys, he's making fun of me. Anyways, so I'm sitting there, and they're all like, oh, yeah, Michael thinks he knows so much and all that stuff, and he's going to realize that the older you get, you don't know shit, and you realize this. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? I just want to eat this delicious free sandwich and stuff. And it's like, and plus, some kids are smarter than you think. They don't think they know everything, so... I don't know where I'm going with this point, but sometimes 8-year-olds might be smarter than we give them credit for. Cause
sometimes 8-year-olds might be smarter than we give them credit for. That is a glowing recommendation for the newly released Indie Game the movie.
Yes.
now available on Steam. Yeah, definitely. I would suggest watching it if you're. Let's put it this way: if you're a fan of the videos that I make and have made historically, You're probably a fan of Braid, Super Meat Boy, and maybe Fez. And that means you will be interested in this movie. Absolutely, because like that's focuses intently on those three. That is like the movie right there. Just very little is tangential to that. If you're not, I still think even if you're not into gaming, I think this is a documentary that people will enjoy. I would be surprised to not see this get at least a little bit more mainstream press because it's really just it's a well-made movie and it's a good story. But it has all that much more significance if you're at least somewhat know about what's going on. You know about the context of the movie.
No, that's a good point. I think people should, often we get involved in certain activities and things like that, but we don't look outside of, kind of the meta and how that industry or whatever it is actually runs. So I think it's good that people become a little more aware of what developers have to go through and just that whole behind the curtains kind of scene. So I'm gonna go get it. How much is it running for on Steam? I didn't actually check that. $10. Oh, that's chump change. So just forego lunch and breakfast and get this instead.
Yeah, watch the movie instead. Definitely recommended.
All right, so that's cool. I can't think of anything else. What do we have for games coming out that we're probably not interested?
Okay. Splice came out on Steam today. That's an indie casual puzzler that I will be looking at some point in this week probably, and you might be as well.
I saw it, and if you're gonna look at it, I'll probably just let you take care of it. I'm still gonna get it, but it kind of looked like a play on you. I mean, you played Virus or Virus, a little arcadey game before. Have you? Yes. Hello.
I played a virus named Tom.
No, I just mean it's called Virus.
The one where you like create a disease and then.
No, that's Pandemic.
Oh, that is Pandemic.
Anyway, though, the gameplay of Virus is you've got like a screen of maybe 20 by 20 or 30 by 30 of these little hexagonal tiles.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Different colors, and you want them all to become the same color, and you get a higher score by doing it in as few clicks as possible or turns as possible.
Yeah, I know that one.
So I think that's kind of the initial impression I got just on reading up on Splice is like you have to splice and create all of these things in as few splices as possible or something to that extent. So I thought it was kind of just like an update. It looks pretty aesthetically. It's kind of nice. I mean, it's simple, nothing elaborate, but
it's on both Mac and PC.
Ooh, which version do I get?
Rune Classic. I know nothing about it, but I bought it, so there'll probably be a video of that coming. I think it's like a port of a classic hack and slash game.
Mm-hmm.
Cool beans. I don't know. Adventures of Shuggy came out. We talked about that. Krater came out. We talked about that. Indie game, the movie. Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, which we're not totally sure about yet, and Bang Bang Racing. That's on the PC, but yeah.
But yeah, we got yesterday. Lollipop Chainsaw came out.
Lollipop Chainsaw came out.
I've seen several commercials for that.
Lollipop Chainsaw is a game that pre-release I have flip-flopped on like 30 times. At first I was like, it's just trying to do this like sex sells kind of thing. And then I was like, oh, well, you know what? Suda51 is involved with it. He did No More Heroes and he did some work on No More Heroes and Shadows of the Damned that came out last year. Both kind of like campy, unique kind of aesthetic games. And also it's written by James Gunn, who wrote Slither, the movie Slither.
I haven't watched it.
It's actually, like, if you're into that kind of like campy horror style, it's actually like deliberately B-movie-esque. I really like Slither though, and so I think right now my opinion on Lollipop Chainsaw is I think it's cool. It has
maybe it's like a little satirical or
exactly, yeah. I think it's tongue planted firmly in cheek. The marketing for the game has been terrible, just like scantily clad girls dressed as I forget what the girl's name is.
Maybe it's Lollipop.
It might be.
I don't know. Yeah, she's kind of dressed like a cheerleader.
Yeah, she is a cheerleader, I guess. Like it's it takes place at a high school where there was a zombie outbreak. So I think the marketing for the game has been exceptionally bad. Like I saw this promo video from who the hell's publishing that? It's Konami or Capcom? I think it's Capcom.
Let me do a quick. Let me enter into the database, the mainframe. Grasshopper Manufacturer Inc.
That's the developer, I guess.
That's the developer. Publisher is Warner Brother Games and
WB. Okay, yeah, it was WB. I remember.
Kadakawa Games is another publisher.
Right. So, there's a video from WB that was like these 3 stereotypical nerds, and then they were talking to like this marketing guy, and he's like, "If you buy Lollipop Chainsaw, you get your very own lollipop." Let's assume that's her name. And then there was like a scantily clad model who came out, and the guys were like, "Oh my god, she's so fucking hot! I gotta buy this game." It's like, that leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. You are talking down to me like I'm a 12-year-old boy, and this is an M-rated game. So, like I wasn't into that, but I'm kind of into the aesthetic. I'm assuming the people who made the game have nothing to do with that commercial. Reviews so far have been mixed, I saw.
Yeah, I haven't even read any reviews on. I'm probably not gonna play it, to be honest. But I don't know if I'm
not gonna buy it either. I'll give you that. And I was so what word is I trying to ignobly declined to receive a review copy. So unfortunately, even if I liked Lollipop Chainsaw, I could not do promotion free of charge for WB Games. So that's unfortunate for everyone involved.
Bummer.
Not that I'm bitter about it or anything.
What else do we have?
That's worth noting. That is on consoles right now, like PC 360, or sorry, PS3 360.
Yeah.
I thought there was a PC version coming, but I guess not. If it's coming, it's not coming anytime soon.
Not within the next month, anyways. Ghost Recon came out yesterday as well. Future Soldier. I mean, we talked about that before. I don't really have anything else to say. What else do we have? Babel Rising.
Yeah, Babel Rising from Ubisoft.
Babel Rising, sorry.
Coming out on Xbox Live Arcade. I know literally nothing about it, and I think so does everybody else.
It's also on PlayStation Network, iPhone, iPad, and Android.
Weird. That strikes me as a game that, when Ubisoft publishes indie games, they tend to do some like PR work for it and actually build some buzz. I don't know. Well, I guess so. Well, I guess it's not an indie game, but it's a game for digital distribution, which is kind of not necessarily synonymous, but
it's a lower budget game by them, probably.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like if you look at a game like From Dust, Ubisoft got a lot of buzz going for that. I think maybe Babel Rising or Babel, I don't know. I don't know anything about that game except for the fact that nobody knows anything about that game, which strikes me as either people have seen the game, like people in more positions of power than us have seen the game and are not talking about it because it's unremarkable, or have not seen the game, which means it's probably bad or unremarkable.
Well, okay, here I found a little snippet of it. Gameplay in Babel. I'm going to say Babel. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Babel Rising, currently compromised of gestures and is touch-based. As God, you must prevent Babylonians from building their tower too high and reaching heaven. The player can activate several different types of interactions and disasters to prevent Babylonians from building their tower. So things like lightning bolts, floods, meteorites, wind, and you can also destroy Babylonians individually with the simple touch of each one as they scurry across the screen.
So it's like a touchscreen game.
It's like what's that? You ever play Black and White?
Yep, yeah. It seems more simplistic than Black and White.
Simplistic, probably, yeah. Not. I mean, Black and White is a great fucking game. I love that game. You play God and you're not trying to. Well, you could be an evil god, so you could screw over your guys, but you could also be good. But this just seems like you're trying to fuck with them. It's like, I'm God, let there be light and humans and all that shit. And oh wait, I don't actually want you to do well. I'm gonna kill you all.
Here's what strikes me as the most disconcerting about this, and I mean we're being totally unfair to this game by judging it. Like I haven't even seen a screenshot or anything.
Very true.
But from the press release, okay, here's what went through my thoughts. Okay, it's on Xbox 360, PSN, and iOS. And so Android. First off, I'm not to diss on the iOS, but I know that it's not going to be like that complex because like the iOS interface just doesn't allow for like a fighting game style.
It's primarily an iOS game, or at least that's what it says here.
It's crazy. So that goes through my head, and then it's like, so you can summon lightning bolts and wind and stuff like that. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, tap, swipe, drag, stuff like that, and you can touch Babylonians individually. Maybe you can confirm for me on that fancy machine you're using that I'm unfamiliar with, if this is Kinect supported or Move supported.
Ubisoft, or you say Ubisoft, I say Ubisoft.
I think I'm wrong.
Anyways,
but yeah.
they promise Kinect support along with cooperative and competitive multiplayer modes.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Babel Rising is probably not going to be very good.
Well, maybe we should look at it together. I think I might actually look at it and just I want to verify.
I will step away. You can have access to that game.
All right, that's
good. Free of my influence.
I'll put my name on the line, or I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be bad, but we'll see. I mean, it just seems weird for me. It's like a big developers trying to make low budget games.
It's unusual.
It is, and again, we hardly know anything about this game, so it could be maybe Game of the Year material right here. I'm calling it.
I would bet you probably $10,000 it will not be Game of the Year material.
Hey, everybody hear that? You want to verbally shake on that?
What else came out? I thought we had one more semi-big game coming out. Let me check the old Metacritic here quickly. Oh, accidentally clicked on an ad for Ontario Chevrolet dealers. Okay.
We got
Dirt Gravity Showdown. Rush.
And Gravity Rush.
Gravity Rush came out on PS Vita.
And PlayStation Network.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, PS, at least I'm on Giant Bomb right now. Yeah. PSNV is the short form.
I think that's just PlayStation Vita.
So, because you can do connectivity, I guess, with your Vita.
Yeah. So, I don't own a PS Vita, but I think people that do own PS Vitas are excited for Gravity Rush, if only because there is nothing else that looks like it has a high pedigree coming to PS Vita.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been into the PlayStation handhelds.
It's getting good reviews so far. That's all I know. Ask me everything I know about Gravity Rush.
What do you know about Gravity Rush? Everything. Tell me everything you know.
It came out yesterday. It's a platformer where you alter gravity, and people seem to like it.
All right. Well, if you have a PlayStation Vita, probably definitely get it. If you're thinking about getting one. What else are you gonna get? I don't know. We got like Metal Gear Solid or some shit on there.
I don't know, man. Mortal Kombat came out for it a while ago.
Oh well, that's good news. Mortal Kombat's classic. And Dirt Showdown came out yesterday.
Right, I think we've talked about that before, but
we did.
To reiterate, I think because I think it did a staggered release, like it came out on PC first, and now it's coming out on consoles, but only like a week or two apart. I'm down with the Dirt series. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Aesthetically cool.
I'm done with racing games for the time being anyway, so it left a bad taste in my mouth. But
I didn't even get a chance to play Bang Bang Racing yet, man. Hopefully they'll release a patch that makes the game work. It's probably high priority.
It better be. I mean, I don't know if they're getting a lot of flack, if they're picking up on it, but I hope they are, because I would like to get my $10 worth of gaming, or at least maybe just get my money back, but I'm too lazy to complain about $10. I'm not one of those like old ladies that stands in line with a checkbook.
I mean, I think that's what they're hoping for, is that people they're like, well, $10, whatever, I don't care. But I don't want to be that guy, even though that's basically what I'm doing right now.
Well, yeah, that's the same thing with me. It's like, not to brag or whatever, but I make a decent amount of money with what I do in life, and that's good and all, but at the same time, I don't want to be like, You don't
want to see them get away with it.
Yeah, it's the principle. It's like, okay, maybe it doesn't matter to me, but I know some other kid who spent a week cutting grass or something is going to buy that game, and they're going to be disappointed, and just like, they could have actually gone out and bought a $10 or even like a $5 game that's way better. And
yeah.
I don't know. It's like, it's all relative, right? So $10 isn't a huge deal for us, but we're at least aware that it might be for other people. So Make games that work when you release them.
Kind of on that same point, during E3, was it Namco who released this game? Check it out quickly. Namco Bandai shoved the release of Inversion on the Tuesday of E3. I don't know anything about Inversion except for the fact that it's probably the lowest reviewed game I've seen this year. Major game, at least. Currently at 51 on Metacritic. And, for most mainstream game sites to give something a 5 is usually pretty rare.
That is actually, what do we see here? It's a cover-based third-person shooter.
Yeah.
For the 360 and PlayStation 3. Takes place in the future. Story follows some guy. I don't care to mention his name because it doesn't add to the description at all. A hot-headed young cop who witnesses the invasion of his planet by an unforeseen enemy called the Lutador.
Sounds really good.
So he must fight his way through the mysterious anomalies and the invasion in order to find his missing child.
Here, let me give you my press release. Inversion is a third-person co-op shooter that combines hard-hitting, adrenaline-pumping action with and there's no quotation marks surrounding this, revolutionary gravity manipulation engine.
That is a tall fucking order.
In other news, Gravity Rush is out this week.
Yeah. Wow. That's, I don't know. And I hate that hard-hitting, adrenaline-pumping. What's with all these? Everybody puts that shit on every bad Hollywood type game.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't. Like,
you can put that on a pizza. You'd be like, this Pizza Hut new pizza is hard hitting.
If somebody put that on a pizza, I would buy that pizza. I think I gotta find out how hard this shit hits. It'd probably just be like a really spicy pizza or something. They put like ghost chili peppers on it, or I don't know.
This pizza's a high octane thrill ride that's fun for the whole family.
That's good stuff. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the majority of what's coming out this week or has come out. I mean, next week we have Civilization 5 Gods and Kings expansion.
Right. Yeah, that's a premium expansion. I think that's $25 or $30, so that's going to be substantial.
Yeah,
but it is $30. Damn. But the press that I've heard about that so far is really good.
Yeah, well, that's good. Civilization games are classic.
I mean, it better damn well be good at $30. Like, that's going to cost more than the actual game on Steam, I think.
Did you read up on that story about apparently this guy has been playing a game of Civ 2 for the past 10 years? I
did, and he's caught in this like weird equilibrium where both sides are just like sending their soldiers to die repeatedly because if they don't send them, they'll lose cities or something. It's a really interesting Reddit article, actually.
Yeah, I was surprised, and takes place over. It's been like 3,400 years now or something in game time, so pretty crazy. But yeah, classic series. So hopefully that expansion is good. What else do we have? Steel Battalion.
Steel Battalion Heavy Armor comes out this week.
You have any thoughts on that?
We were talking about this a little bit before the podcast started. That it's so weird that Steel Battalion, if you're not familiar, is like this heavy simulation, like mech style game. And there was an original Xbox Steel Battalion that required its own standalone controller, which cost like $100, and it had like a bunch of levers on it. It was like a U shape, and you kind of sat in front of it, and you had like all these different consoles you could input commands into. Steel Battalion Heavy Armor, Connect required.
Yeah, so they've replaced the expensive, awesome-looking controller with your hands, boring, typical hands.
I imagine that interface is going to be like severely dumbed down.
Which is unfortunate because that was the whole allure of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was the controller. It's like you're not buying the game for the game necessarily. It's like to actually use a sweet controller. But I don't know. I'm not gonna get it because it requires Kinect. I don't have Kinect.
I have Kinect. I might play it and do a video of it just because I want to. I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know how much it's going to cost. Play it. I assume it's downloadable, right?
No, it just says Xbox 360. So.
Have to go to the store and buy a copy of that on disc? That's gonna be hard on my
I
pride.
believe you're gonna go out, but hey, man, stop off at the 7-Eleven, get yourself a big gulp, maybe get a Baconator, and
Yeah, absolutely. So I can look my best when the Kinect takes pictures of me when I do jumps and stuff.
you gotta have food, baby, in your gut. What else do we
Brave, the
have?
video game based on the
Brave.
Pixar movie.
Coming out on PS3, Wii, Mac, Xbox 360, DS, and PC.
Well, I think we talked about this already. Excited to see the movie. Don't give a shit about the game.
Nope. And that's
it.
Resonance. I don't even know what the hell Resonance is. Have you heard of this game?
Never heard of it. No.
Well, it's coming at Sci-Fi. Wow, there's like nothing on it. After the death of a famous physicist, the race for his hidden legacy begins.
Is that
in
maybe...
Resonance, the player takes control of 4 characters, swapping between them. One of the rather peculiar ideas behind the game is the possibility to even overcome death by rewinding the time in the game.
So let's take bets on what kind of game that is. Is that a platformer? Is it a point-and-click adventure?
Doesn't say. That's literally all the information known, other than it's only on the PC.
Okay.
It's developers are XII Games and
Never heard of them. So
Wadjet I Games, and its genre is adventure, and the theme is sci-fi, and it comes out on the 19th. So
I'm gonna guess that is a point-and-click adventure.
Wow.
We'll see.
Suck, maybe.
Maybe
it'll be great.
Yeah, I'll try to ask for a review copy of that. See
maybe they're taking our advice of not pushing it too hard before they're sure that it works. So maybe they're smart. That's
Roller Coaster Rampage comes out on Steam.
I want to get that.
I hope. Yeah, I'm sure one of us will cover it for sure.
Yeah. Well, even so, I just want to. Because we talked about Roller Coaster Tycoon. Was that on the first episode or second episode? I can't remember.
I think it was the first episode.
Which one it was. So, I just wanna play with roller coasters. I want to go to Canada's Wonderland too. We should go back there. You want to go on some roller coasters with me?
I went to Canada's Wonderland this year, man.
Oh, you went without me?
Yeah, I rode Leviathan and everything. I wasn't even scared.
Oh, I still want to go Leviathan and Behemoth.
Both, yeah, for the baby roller coasters. I don't even enjoy them.
Screw you. I think I was listening to radio last summer or the summer before, whenever the Behemoth had just pretty much come out.
Yeah.
And there was this roller coaster study they did around the world, and they looked at all these kind of AAA, awesome roller coasters, the flagship roller coasters for a bunch of these big theme parks, and they said all around, while the Behemoth isn't like the best in any one category, overall, it's actually pretty much one of the funnest roller coasters you can ride in the world, which kind of shocked me. I don't know, but that's just one company's or agency's.
It goes Teacups number 1.
Teacups. Oh no, the swinging.
You just totally shot my wad, man. Spinning swing is number 2.
Damn it. What about the Great Canadian Mindbuster?
That's if you that'll shake the Parkinson's out of you.
It will. It's like the only wooden roller coaster left in
with good reason
in the world.
It is a bumpy beast as well.
I rode when I was 4 years old when I first rode on it, and I swear to God, I started like slipping out of it. I swear to this day, like if I wasn't holding the rail, I would have just flown off.
When I went on the Bat, which is, I know you know, but for the people listening, it comes out of the starting track, and then it goes it pulls you back, and then you go forward through like a loop corkscrew type deal, and then you go backwards through the loop corkscrew. Anyway, through the first loop, I was so sweaty because it was so hot that my glasses fell off my face during the loop, and I managed to reach up and catch them with my hands. So I caught them, and then we got to the end, and the end is really only halfway, because then you have to go through the entire ride backwards. And the whole time I was just clinging to my glasses to make sure I didn't lose them. But really just a miraculous catch.
If anything, that goes to prove, because they've done studies for years on this, that gaming actually makes your reaction time a lot better, and your hand-eye coordination. So, don't go running off to enlist in the army or anything of that nature. But apparently, there are benefits to sitting on your ass and eating Cheetos for 8 hours a day.
I don't know if the Cheetos have anything to do with the hand-eye coordination.
Well, you need some nutrients. How else are you gonna?
That's true. How else would you get nutrients?
I mean, you see these people who are dying at computers by playing Diablo 3 and StarCraft because they weren't eating their Cheetos. You know?
That should be the new Cheetos marketing. Just open with like a young person's open casket funeral, and then some like businessman walks up to the casket and like kisses the kid on the forehead, and it's like, if they had known about Cheetos, we wouldn't be here today.
Oh man, Cheetos and Doritos and
all the oses.
What was I gonna say? You know, people were like, when they came out with the Dorito shell for the Taco Bell.
Oh yeah.
I was like 8 years old, not doing that, but I was using Doritos instead of just plain Tostito chips.
Yeah,
you know, I'd make nachos and I used Doritos, and to me that made sense. Like,
it is probably gonna shock people that you're not morbidly obese.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, I've got a couple videos of one recent of me, like real life me, and yeah, I'm not fat.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Especially surprising considering that when I was 8 years old, I was using Doritos to make nachos. Comment.
I sound like a fat person, but
my mom sent me an article. We're getting way off topic, but you know we're out of shit to talk about. She sent me an article. Apparently, Subway, you know, Eat Fresh, was doing market research about making Doritos nachos for sale in their restaurants.
Doritos,
like not Doritos like nacho cheese, Doritos like nachos with Doritos as a base, like the exact idea you just presented.
Yeah.
Subway.
Yeah, Subway. Well, I mean, they do pizzas. They do flatbread sandwiches.
Pizzas?
What? You didn't know they do pizzas?
They do pizza subs.
They do pizzas, man. They put that shit in the oven. Yes. They do pizzas. I don't know if it's like a seasonal thing or like a few places, you know, kind of like the KFC Double Down, like they did that for a little while and then it's back though. I tried the Double Down Zinger. It's like the same thing, but it's got this spicy zingy sauce. It didn't hit me as hard as I wanted it to, but it was okay. I mean, chicken was all right, but yeah, Subway does everything now. They do breakfast. They
pizzas.
Do
I know the breakfast.
Salads. No, they do pizzas. At least they did, and it's wild. I know. Well, that's like McDonald's used to do pizzas.
Yeah, it was good pizza too.
It was.
Well, it tasted good. If you put that in a pizza competition, it would probably come in last, but it tasted okay.
The only place you could go through a drive-through and get a pizza.
Yeah. So good for like McDonald's birthday parties when you were a kid.
Oh, those are classic. Oh man.
Give you all the pizzas. Pop in that VHS tape where Grimace loses his own birthday.
Going in the big playground, the play world, or whatever they call it. Man, you know, McDonald's is it's got a special spot in my heart from my childhood. It's
probably got several special spots in both of our hearts.
Special artery logs spots. Yeah. So I don't know. Let's maybe there's nothing else in the gaming world that I can think of to talk about.
Yeah, you know, that's been our podcast this week. As always, thank you for joining me, Mike.
Yeah, well, it was a pleasure. I love talking to you, with you.
Well, you didn't have to make it all weird like that and sentimental at the end.
Hey, man, you know what? We could both get hit by a bus tomorrow, and I just want you to know that I love you. You're my friend. You're my friend. Gonna cry.
See you guys next week.
Peace out.